This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Detroit is the greatest!
Straight up light you on fire for a Coney dog right now.
Darren McCarty comes back with Neiman in front of him. McCarty draws. McCarty in. McCarty scores! He makes it a goal! Darren McCarty!
Stafford takes, throws, end zone, Calvin, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Stafford throws, intercepted, pick six. Motor City Sports Rant, Detroit Sports Podcast.com. I'm Vinny Stubbs. Sitting across from me is the king, Jason Jarvi. Sitting to my left is John McAroo.
What was that for? Why did you have to throw a Stafford interception so early?
Because they're not addressing the offensive line,
They're not
Jason.
even playing.
They're still losing.
So I guess we know. Well, before we all get into the Lions, how are you doing?
I'm doing swell.
You doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're wearing a tight shirt today.
I know it's a little too
with
tight.
short sleeves.
It's an
and a
undershirt.
V-neck.
Yeah, no, it's an undershirt to hide my boobage. And I forgot to iron a shirt today because I just did laundry, so you're going to have to deal
You're
with it.
both wearing V-necks.
Are you wearing a V-neck? Let me see.
Yes,
A
sir.
V-neck sweater to show
Goodness
off his
gracious.
gold chain and all that.
He looks like a Jewish
all
guy.
that hairiness.
Gold chain and hair.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is
You should
disgusting.
fix that, John.
You should take it off.
Mondays are all the female clients, so I gotta, rock out the nice V-neck and
Open it up a
show
little
off
bit.
the assets, right? Keep them coming back to the office.
You really got all 80s
Give me
on Mondays?
give me a Dan Miller. No. Oh no! That's what they say.
My goodness.
Well, real quick before you guys start your show, I was in the presence of greatness and I had a fun chat. I got to meet Lomas Brown last week, and he's a cool dude, very interesting cat, and he let me know that he is donating his brain after he passes away to science to study CTE.
Who wants to talk about dying?
No, but he's very engaging. He's a very engaging man, and one guy that I think loves football, loves talking about it. And I was very pleasantly surprised to meet him and get to pick his brain a little bit. And hopefully one day he gets to come on and chat football with us. But
he's a really cool guy. I've
really
met
cool
him
dude.
before.
Yeah, real cool dude.
He's gotten a lot smaller.
Yes,
Like he slimmed down. It's kind of crazy how like the offensive linemen after they get out of football, they shrink down to like normal size.
and always the funny thing is though, real quick, he's like, "Oh, you're a psychologist?" He's like, "Oh, we used to have one back in the day, but nobody would talk to him because he was scared, and all the boys were scared that the psychologist would go tell the team anything that was said." So it was kind of funny, but he was a very cool cat to meet. So yeah, hopefully you get a chance to talk football with him down the line. And he's a very nice man. And he's actually, he told me he's writing a book. It's going to come out in the summer, talking about the Lions and stuff like that. So interesting stuff. Look for that down the pike.
Yeah, the feud with Scott Mitchell. That'll be fun to read. But yeah, let's stay on topic with the Lions. The big news came out literally the day after our podcast that Calvin Johnson decided to hang it up. How do you feel about this, Vinny?
I feel like he's really stupid for walking away from $24 million. I think he should have waited and got cut and then played for a contender. But I don't know if they're going to go out and get another wide receiver in free agency, but it looks like they're going to draft one.
No, I know with Calvin leaving, I had mixed feelings because on one hand, yeah, it frees up a ton of space, and as we've seen in the guys that we've been able to go out and sign in free agency, we've kind of been able to take a few chances on signing guys like Tavon. We've signed Tavon Wilson, Stephon Charles, Raphael Bush. We spent a bunch of money on pretty much a special teams expert in that Jordan Botomosi. I don't think if Calvin was still here and we only had what we had to work with when he was still here, we wouldn't probably be seeing all this this movement. So on one hand, yeah, I think it was a smart decision for the team, and it sucks. Yeah, you're not going to have Calvin. The fan in me, it sucks to see him go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's the guy that you put on your 81 jersey, you go down to Ford Field, and more than likely you're going to see something amazing happen.
Yeah, it sucks.
And I mean, we could probably talk about different things that we've seen Calvin Johnson do. I mean, the one thing that I remember vividly was, I know there was Monday night against the Bears when he had that really long touchdown reception. And then there was one of his earlier games against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he won the game on an end around. You can't replace him.
No, you can't, but you can really try with Marvin Jones. And Marvin Jones is definitely not a number one wide receiver.
So Marvin Jones coming from Cincinnati, he's kind of been playing in the shadow of A.J. Green. when he's been healthy, because that's also another thing. He's had some injury problems in his career. He's performed pretty well. He hasn't really gotten the chance to be a number one receiver. And I don't really agree with anybody who's saying that he's going to be the number one receiver. I mean, would you agree with that? Because I would say Golden Tate, he's still the number one guy. He's the number one target.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
But I don't think the Lions aren't really looking to replace Calvin Johnson. Because it's just like last year. We're not looking to replace Ndamukong Suh. We're looking to try and fill that gap or try and fill the production. And I think Marvin Jones is just the first piece of trying to fill that wide receiver slot. Because Calvin Johnson, he took up a lot of... He ate up... he at least commanded two people to be covering him at all times. Marvin Jones probably isn't going to give us that. But it's also... It's going to give Matt Stafford different reads. Because when he had Calvin on the field, he would obviously be the number one, target that he's looking. He's option A, that he's always looking at Calvin, and they'd always have two guys on him. I think this is going to create more man-on-man coverage. You're going to see Golden Tate he might even get double teamed sometimes, but I think it's going to leave other guys with single coverage. And it really comes down to Matt Stafford, and it's his time now to really... He's going to have to step up and make his guys better. This is going to have to be the year because he doesn't have the Hall of Fame wide receiver to help him out.
No. And Vinny, I disagree with you a little bit. I think it's going to be okay to replace him because going forward, you guys are thinking, it's going to be hard to replace the guy that was in his prime who was able to get so many yards and touchdowns. But last year, he only had around 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns.
That's it.
You can replace that with two guys. Marvin Jones probably can get 700-800 yards. You can maybe increase the role of other players out there. You can increase the role for Golden Tate and other receivers out there. So
TJ Jones, yes. They're very high on, but it's all yet to be seen. It's just like it's exactly the same as when Suh left, only with less hard feelings.
Yeah, and I think they're going to go to a more conservative offense and maybe not rely so much on Matthew Stafford and that offense. Maybe shift a little bit toward a combination of a safe offense and a strong defense that'll help you win championships. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do, and I don't think they're going to draft a wide receiver in the first round.
I sure hope you're right.
I hope so.
What are your two memories of Calvin Johnson?
You believe it? With Calvin Johnson, the one that sticks out for me is there's a rule. The Calvin Johnson rule. I mean, it was the start of the 2010 season.
You bastard, taking mine. Week 1, right?
We were all excited for the year. They played a solid game versus the Bears.
Oh, you son of a bitch, you're stealing my thunder.
Go down, throw the ball to Calvin, boom. He grabs it, holds onto it, then just slams it on the ground. All of a sudden, they don't call it a touchdown.
Right.
And now we start talking about the process and all that mess. That wasn't there when that happened.
It started with the Lions.
So that one will always stick with me, but I was there his last game. And you just kind of got a vibe of, hey, this was his last touchdown. So he was a great player all around, but that Calvin Johnson rule always stick with me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And his facial expressions when Aaron Rodgers threw that bomb at Ford Field and then Stafford threw his hat off. Down. That's when he retired.
You have any good memories of him?
Yeah, when he used to just dominate and make my life so much easier.
How about that 3-touchdown game against the Cowboys?
I thought you were going to say the Eagles.
Well, he did have a 3-touchdown game against the Eagles as well.
Yeah, that was in 2011.
Do you think there was any chance that he actually wasn't going to retire? Because, it came out that, or there was rumors that, he told people after last season that this was going to be his last season. Mm-hmm. And all the speculation after when the season ended was that he's going to retire. Do you think there was any chance that he actually would have stayed in the game? And
yeah, if they would have made the playoffs last year. Maybe. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of. Them changing GMs again is just like, I've been through all this. I'm done. How do you walk away from $24 million? I don't get it.
When you have 50 in the bank and you're pretty good, you're pretty solid.
I honestly don't think that there's any way the Lions would have had him on their team at $24 million.
No way.
They would have cut him before that. And that's probably one of the biggest indicators that he was going to retire because you didn't hear any talks about the Lions negotiating with him, trying to say, hey, we really want you. We want you to, but we don't want you at $24 million. Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you guys something. So something that's always talked about is the Patriot way. How do you build a football team? Going out and getting Marvin Jones the next day after Calvin retires, championship teams, when they build, they don't really need to pick up high-priced wide receivers. It's been shown quite a bit. The obvious first name that comes to mind is Mike Wallace. Some high-priced wide receiver free agents that have left and gone to other teams, it really hasn't really panned out. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think they really had to go out and get Marvin Jones so fast? I thought, you know what? It's a nice addition. He's a nice piece. I felt like, you know what, you really didn't even need to allocate money for him. You could have really built on the defense, gone out and get some of the impact defensive players. I'm kind of looking like most championship teams. Look at New England. They don't have great wide receivers. They're going out there with...
Neither do the Lions.
So they're going out there like with second-tier guys, and you went out and paid that much money for Marvin Jones. It's not really the championship way of building a team that others have used.
I don't know. I can't tell you until I see who the other wide receiver is. If they go ahead and get one.
They don't have a way of building a championship. They don't know how to build a championship. Obviously, Bob Quinn is trying to bring that in, and I think there's not just only one way to build a championship. All Lions fans have to hope that Bob Quinn he's forging his own path. I think Marvin Jones it wasn't necessary. We probably could have gotten away with getting I like Kamar Aiken a lot. I think he would have been interesting to try to go get. Mohamed Sanu was another Bengal wide receiver. We might have gotten him for a little bit cheaper. But I think you needed to get that one guy, because if they didn't go out and get Marvin Jones, it's a given that they're going to draft a wide receiver with the first pick. And I think getting Marvin Jones helps us not really. It drives away that fear. And there really would have been if the Lions would have drafted Laquan Treadwell or Will Fuller from Notre Dame, it would have been a failure of a draft, right?
Absolutely.
So I think this helps.
Over under 10 games he plays next year. You know, he's got a history of foot
Marvin
problems.
Jones?
Yep, over under 10 games that he plays for the Lions.
Over.
He has a history of foot problems, missed an entire season with foot problems.
Only the Lions, man. Oh, are you serious?
Look him up. He's had injury problems in the past.
Oh, my God.
Let's see. 2012, 11 games. 2013, 16, missed 14. 2015, he played 16 games.
Okay.
He'll play all his games.
I will say, I'll get the over.
I'll get the over, too.
He actually played all games this season.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are saying that he got all his numbers because he was, obviously the beneficiary of playing next to A.J. Green. Is he going to get those kind of numbers playing next to Golden Tate?
I think it's going to be similar. I really see Marvin Jones and A.J. Green as similar type players. Both of those guys they're burners. They're guys that you send out there, you run them deep, and it's a no-brainer. You toss it up, and it's a 50-50 ball. I think he's actually going to be kind of a compliment to Golden Tate, similar to the way Calvin Johnson is. I'm not saying that he's going to be Calvin Johnson.
I was going to say,
but I think he's going to be the same kind of beneficiary. And if anything, I feel like Calvin he's getting older, and he was getting up there. I think Marvin Jones you might see that kind of fight that Golden Tate had when he came in here, and he's finally getting that chance to be a number 1, number 2 receiver. To answer your question, he's going to start over 10 games.
Do you think Russell Ocon's going to come here or the Giants? Because it's down to those two. And they had a meeting. What was it, Friday?
I believe so, yeah.
He's injury prone too.
Yeah, that's a guy who's never played 16 games in his life. I wouldn't be upset if they brought him in. Mm-hmm. I think it would have to be for the right price. But I think if you brought in Okong, you instantly fix your offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Not exactly.
You move Riley Reif to the right tackle. You have Okong at left tackle. So if he's healthy, then yeah, you fix your offensive line, and then you can focus on other parts of your team.
Yeah, like LeGarrette Blount coming to the Lions and playing running back.
That's a little crazy.
That would be so sweet. We need a big guy in the backfield. We got 2 scat backs right now.
I think you're crazy with.
I would love it. He's a former Patriot, man.
Some other guys, like I said before, that they signed. Tavon Wilson is a defensive back.
Oh God.
Stephen Charles, he's a D tackle. We have 3 D tackles now. We re-signed Nada. We re-signed Walker. We got the Stephen Charles. We were going after another D tackle who Bob Quinn was familiar with, in Keem Hicks, but it looks like he signed, I think, with the Bears.
Mm-hmm. I seen that earlier.
With all those D tackles, them signing them,
that means they're not drafting a defensive tackle.
You look at, we were talking about Ashawn Robinson and Jerron Reed.
He's not coming.
Robert and Nkemdiche. Do you think D tackle is still a priority in the draft?
Nope. I don't think that you're going to get much production out of it, but they're going to close the gap a little bit on runners. They might go ahead to draft the defensive end. They might get that linebacker. Is it Alabama or Arkansas?
Alabama with Reggie Ragland.
Yeah. Now they're going to go target him.
Now that's your prediction. Do you think it would be smart though if those guys were still there to build up that D line, to get more big uglies at the defensive tackle position, to get if Ashawn Robinson is there?
Yes,
to get him.
Yes, I still want a defensive tackle in the draft.
I think that would really be the smart option. But I think with all these signings, it does leave it open to build other places.
Yeah, they're not going to. I just don't want them to draft the wide receiver. I really don't care. You give me a linebacker, you give me an offensive lineman, I'll take it.
Now, what if they do open it up for a different skill position, say like a running back?
What about a tight end? What running back are you talking about?
Oh, what about Ezekiel Elliott?
I don't think he's going to be there at 16.
It's possible, but let's just say Ezekiel Elliott's there.
He's going to Philadelphia. That's what I hear.
Would you take Ezekiel Elliott over?
What probably not, because Ohio State running backs never paying out in the NFL besides Eddie George. So I'm a little scared to touch.
And don't you think that the increased role for Theo Riddick's going to be productive? I feel like now he's going to be given a chance, and now you got Zenner, who's going to be healthy.
No.
I think they're going to give him a chance. I think you're at running back, you're okay with what you have.
This year's a wash.
It's not a wash.
I think so.
I disagree completely.
I'm not calling it a wash yet because it's way too early to call it a wash.
No,
we haven't even
not.
seen anything, what they're going to do in the draft.
I want Jim Caldwell to fail. I don't know why. I just do, because I want Bob Quinn to bring his own guys in. I would really enjoy to see him fail. So I hope this year's a wash. So shoot me in the balls for being so negative. But I just really would like to see who Bob Quinn would bring in as a head coach, offensive and defensive coordinator. So hopefully they have a bad year and go 7-9 again, which I think they're going to do. I mean, they're really, really trying hard to go 7-9 again.
Do you think they're shopping Matthew Stafford as we speak?
Hell no. They cannot get rid of Matt Stafford. I
think they should?
No, I like Stafford as the quarterback. Their O-line shot. He's got a second and a half to 2 seconds to get rid of the ball. How many times do we got to go over that? I mean, if you're not going to address the offensive line, then expect Stafford to be getting rushed, especially in the division itself. You got to play the Vikings twice, the Packers, and the Bears. They're all known for their defensive lines. I mean, the guy has no chance to get rid of the ball. So he's going to continue to struggle. And even when he struggles, he still throws for over 30 touchdowns. So he's obviously not the problem. But when you got 2 slot receivers, one is your number one, and the other slot might be your other number one playing on the outsides, you have problems. Who's going to be the slot receivers? Who? Corey Fuller? The guy's trash. TJ Jones? He's trash. And what's up with this Badamasi guy? Was he really the second coming of Christ in Cleveland? They signed, he's the most... What the hell? What's the word I'm looking for?
The highest paid.
The highest paid. Thank you, John. Jesus Christ. The daylight savings time has really destroyed my brain. You thought I was like retarded then?
I was so pissed yesterday. I woke up at like 11, but it was only 10. I mean, it was 10 in my body, but it was like 11 o'clock. I was like, I can't stay asleep for long.
What do you think about Raphael Bush?
I like a lot of people that the Lions sign. They need to stay healthy. Raphael Bush has injury problems. I think he could be good. We'll see.
They keep signing these guys with injury problems. Injury-prone guys that can never stay healthy. They're heading down the same direction that they were since Millen and Mayu were here. Well, they're going down the same path. I hope the guy does better than ahead of. Well, who knows?
For both of you, what was more shocking?
I'll tell you.
Brock Osweiler signing that huge deal with Houston, or Sanchez from Philadelphia getting traded to Denver? When that came across the wire, I was utterly shocked.
He's a backup.
Why would Denver trade for him?
Sanchez is they only gave up a 7th round pick. It's not like they were given they're not.
I think that's an offensive 7th round picks.
That's very offensive. Now Brock Osweiler.
That deal was crazy, huh?
That's not crazy. He's smart. He took the money and run.
Yeah, Houston's and they're only missing a quarterback too, so Houston might be better than Denver.
They have a good. I think Denver's defense is still good.
We're not talking about their defense.
Although their defense, they are losing a couple pieces like Malik Jackson, but they still got Von Miller.
Does Brock Osweiler get his first starting playoff win over Matthew Stafford?
Oh my God! Yes.
That would be in the Super Bowl.
No, I'm saying, does he get a playoff win first before Stafford does?
No.
Yes, this year
Probably because they have a better defense.
Yeah,
unless Ziggy Ansah becomes just a god.
Oh my God!
Ziggy Ansah is going to have 18 sacks this year.
If Brock Osweiler is making 18, then what does Stafford going to get? Is he going to get 25 plus a year?
I don't know, but here's a better question.
If he wins a playoff game, he's going to get 25.
Woo. Do the Philadelphia 76ers win a championship before the Lions get a playoff win? That's a better question.
No, Lions will get a playoff win before that.
Okay, you guys.
76ers are horrible.
All right, well, the Lions, they're doing their thing. Tim Wright, they just re-signed him. Raphael Bush, Tyron Walker, and Haloti Nada, who pretty much did Nada the entire season.
I got
sad.
them
guys playing under 10 games this season.
How ridiculous is it that Stephen Tulloch's still on the team?
I think they're going to keep him. I don't know.
How?
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it. They said he was gone. He had the Instagram post.
Yeah. I was confused when I saw that maybe they haven't done it. Oversight. I don't know why. And at some point he gets like some kind of roster bonus for being on the team still. So I don't know why they didn't pull the trigger.
If he's on this team next year, that will be my first big question mark.
Mm-hmm.
take away all the free agency moves that they've done. If Tulloch is on this team, I don't get it. I don't understand why.
Everybody that's watched film says this guy slowed down dramatically. You got to part ways with him. He's not effective anymore.
I'd rather put Kyle Vanoy in the middle than have Stephen Tulloch there.
That's pretty bad. What do you mean? You were just saying he's going to have 10.5 sacks this year.
Yeah, and I was wrong.
No, you said for this upcoming season that Kyle Vanoy is going to have 10.5 sacks.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you did. You said if they switched over to a 3-4.
He could. He might.
I'll pick it up for you. You guys want to argue about your NCAA bracket? Because I got Kansas winning the whole thing.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the NCAA tournament. Yesterday, they had the selection special. Did you see the leaked bracket?
It was great, dude. I was at the time it was set up perfectly for me. I had the family all cleared out. I'm like, okay, 2 hours. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll sit through this. Maybe they'll do it the right way and just announce the bracket in the first half hour and spend an hour and a half breaking it down. No, they were slowing it down. So all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I'm getting bored. So I'm searching Twitter. All of a sudden, across my feed comes, this is the bracket. And I'm like, what? I see a lot of retweets, and I'm like, come on, this can't be real. So I'm starting to question it, but then I start going back and forth, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put it out there, and it was real. And then, you know what? After the first hour and 15 minutes of the show, I turned it off. The show was so bad that it ruined something that I look forward to every year. Every March is a great time because around the time of my birthday, a lot of family members have birthdays, and you look forward to that selection show where, hey, boom, every 10 minutes they announce a bracket in an hour span. But extending it to 2 hours and having guys that don't watch college basketball on there made the experience horrible. Charles Barkley was, stuttering and didn't know what he was doing. A lot of the guys were not really college basketball experts, and so the leak was awesome. I loved everything about it. It's kind of like the anti-establishment against CBS for doing that, for putting up a show with that kind of ill-preparedness and that kind of disrespect to the fans. When you start alienating people who love college basketball, then you made a big mistake. So I love it. But the guy, I tried to reach out to him to see if he'd come talk to us, but he deleted his Twitter right away, and he's probably going to be investigated. I tried to see if he'd come on to our podcast and be like, oh, that was awesome. What an awesome thing that he did, whoever did it. Awesome.
Yeah, I'd have to say it kind of sucked for me because I was at the station yesterday. We had our Selection Sunday special, and it kind of ruined everything. We're going through, we're airing the selections as they come on, and I think probably as they're announcing the second region.
How'd you find out?
As they were announcing the second region, Denny, he sends us a tweet, and he says, this is legit. So we look at the bracket. I print it out, and I'm like, we're not going to go on air, and we're not going to, say this is what's happening. They made mention of, there was a leaked bracket, and apparently they have this stuff. We still went through with, all the different breakdowns that we try to, and it was amazing. I mean, it was right. I think it took away, but you are right. The whole 2 hour special was way too much. They could have done, like you said, it could have been done in a half hour.
Sometimes, and that's what I'm getting so mad lately, is it's been happening to me quite a bit in other type things at restaurants and other type things that I enjoy. Things that I enjoy regularly are now being discontinued or changed. Just the other day, I go to Einstein Bagels. I love this veggie spread that they had on their bagels. This topper, it's gone. They don't have it anymore. I'm like, come on, why are you tinkering with something that's great? I have set routines and things that I like. And then when you go change it, why would you mess with a good thing? It was awesome.
Maybe only you liked it.
I don't know. What they replaced it with was horrible. Some spread with cucumbers. I'm like, come on, what happened? And then, or you go now to this selection show. An hour was perfect, but you try to make more money, try to be greedy. You could have pulled it off. I'm not saying that going to 2 hours might have been the worst decision, but the programming that they tried to run off, where you're going to give us a bracket every 45 minutes, get the hell out of here. You got people that are not going to stay with you that long in this internet age. You just run it for 2 hours. Break down everything, expose the whole bracket in half an hour, and you can spend 3 hours breaking it down. You'll keep people, but once that thing was leaked, everybody mostly turned off. So I give you guys credit for trying to stick with it.
Yeah, we tried, but a lot of people are saying that they got it wrong. They got a lot of the stuff wrong. Yeah. The biggest thing probably between you and me that we'll disagree on is
we'll see.
Michigan State is not a number 1 seed. I think we were all surprised after
it came out. Yeah,
they won the Big Ten tournament. And
number 2 ranked in the country.
They're not a number 1 seed.
That makes no sense.
And they beat Kansas.
Yeah, they beat Kansas. It was earlier in the season. But yeah, the number 1 seeds, Kansas, North Carolina, Oregon. I get those. North Carolina, Kansas, Oregon, they all won their divisions. But Virginia as the number 1 seed doesn't make sense. They didn't win the ACC. They have a worse record than Michigan State.
First time that's ever kind of happened where a team like Virginia, who has not won anything, not a regular season title, not a tournament title, is given a number 1 seed.
That makes no sense.
Right?
It doesn't really. But what I will say...
How is Syracuse in it?
That's another one. We'll get to that in a second. But it does help that the Spartans ended up in the Midwest region. I think they're in a really good
Beautiful.
bracket.
If you're not going to give them a number 1 seed, that bracket, oh my God. I was like, seriously? They kind of really, the game versus Virginia might be tough, but you're looking at a pretty much a situation where Michigan State's going to be in the Final Four.
And it's a place, it's an easy place for us to travel. Virginia, it's probably pretty equidistant. Virginia probably has a little bit more travel time, but there's more, it's Big Ten town.
Now, as the bracket was unfolding, were you a little bit nervous that they might have been the number 2 seed in the South? I was a little bit nervous when they put that number 1 seed, and then they had number 2, I think, in the South is Villanova.
Yeah,
I was like, thank you. When they scrolled to Villanova, I did release a huge sigh of relief because I thought for a second, oh my gosh, they're not going to stick Michigan State in the South as number 2, and I'm so happy that they got the number 2 in the Midwest.
I would say Michigan State's probably the best of the number 2s. And I think there's no way that they would have put them in the region with Kansas. Have the best number 1 team, best number 2 team. The other region, I think they might have been in the East. And I would have been more worried then because then you're going up against North Carolina in a possible Elite 8 matchup.
Right.
Which North Carolina, there's 2 teams really that always scare me as a Michigan State fan. North Carolina and Duke.
Exactly.
I don't know what it is about them.
They just have better talent. That's all.
It's Tom Izzo's kryptonite.
Yeah.
It's the stupid Blue Devils and that stupid North Carolina blue.
The Yankees and Red Sox.
So now I assume that you have Michigan State face to face with North Carolina in the Final Four.
Yes. In the one bracket I did after I got everything, that was the initial. That's what I initially had in that Final Four bracket.
So who do you got going through to the final game?
Of course, I have Michigan State going through. It's still going to be a tough matchup, but I said it last week, and I think I said it the week before, that if Michigan State wins the Big Ten tournament, they're going to win the championship this year.
Okay, you still got to have a little bit of concern because there is a player that we're counting on that is slumping. Bryn Forbes is off. He only made 1 3, I think, in the final Big Ten title game. He's been a little bit off. He hasn't been shooting it with the efficiency that we'd like to see going into the tournament. I'm hoping that he was just maybe a little bit worn down, but he obviously is in a shooting slump. So that's a guy that's got to pick up his game. I really do believe Michigan State is going to play very well. But initially, before I do my research on it, I would initially say I would have North Carolina beating Michigan State just based on past history and things like that. But if Michigan State plays to the highest level, not only on offense, but on defense. Did you see how they were able to shut down Purdue once they just elevated their intensity maybe 5% on defense? They were able to shut down a Purdue team that was coming in playing very strong. Mm-hmm. They were playing very well. So I was impressed with not only their offensive performance, but on defense. I like Denzel Valentine to take over as a leader, a senior leader, and the talent of Costello and the other surrounding cast will help Michigan State. But they're going to have to, and some teams under Tom Izzo have failed in the biggest moments, to raise their game. If they can raise their game in the Final Four, they got a chance to win it all.
Yeah, I think this is the year that they do that. I think they got a great collection of seniors.
Open.
And who would you be more worried about facing in that Final Four matchup?
Holy Cross. Holy shit, they're 5 games under 500. How are they even in it?
Would you be more worried seeing North Carolina as the number 1 seed, or would you be more worried seeing Kentucky? Because I think if there's anybody else in that bracket, I don't think Xavier, I don't think they're going to do much. I don't think West Virginia might be the third best team.
I was just looking at Kentucky.
I think Kentucky is that other team that could make a run.
And they're playing strong. I agree. The big dogs. Michigan State, I believe, is going to have a nice run. And what do? You might even beat North Carolina, get to the final. Are you going to go up against Kansas and handle your business? Dude. It's going to be a tough game. I know they handled them pretty much routinely, but that was way back in October, I believe. So
on the other side of the bracket, what do you think of Oregon as a number 1? When you think of national college basketball powerhouses, you don't think of Oregon. They came out of nowhere. I love their floor. I love what they do with the little pines coming in. But
what, you think Oklahoma should have been number 1?
I think they were too inconsistent. They do have, I think they're kind of in a similar place as where Michigan State was, where they have a really good player on their team in Buddy Hield. And it's going to be between Buddy Hield and Denzel Valentine for the Player of the Year award. I really think it'll probably be Oklahoma, and I don't see Oregon getting there. And I know
I was going to say, they play basketball in Oregon?
people are hating on Duke. I'm not counting Duke out. Grayson Allen, he's probably the most hated player in the country right now. But Duke just finds ways to win. And that's in my early bracket. Duke was who I had coming out of that. Out of the West.
So who are your Final Four teams? Who do you got?
I have Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, and Michigan State. And coming out of that, I had Kansas and Michigan State. So it's a matchup of the early season.
But you don't give any other Cinderella chances. I mean, you have all 4 elite programs now. In the past few seasons, they've been better
programs, but they're not all number ones.
Right.
That's the thing is I would have felt a little dirtier if I was putting like 3 number 1s in Michigan State in there. I think Duke. I don't know. Let's just take a look. I honestly, when I went through, I couldn't give anybody else that kind of props. The West, I think Duke.
What
Oregon,
about
Oklahoma. I think those
They're
are the 3
playing in
teams.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, for the first 2 games. But then they go to California, where it really won't help anybody. Kansas, I honestly don't think anybody could beat Kansas.
Not even Michigan State.
No, well, we'll have to see about that. Villanova, do you really think Villanova, the number 2, could come out of that conference?
No, exactly.
Out of that region?
They're a team I would always have as losing in the Sweet 16 or earlier because, they always seem to underachieve in the tournament.
I think if you're going to see one of those true Cinderella stories, it's probably going to come out of the East because I think that's the most varied. There's so many teams. I think North Carolina, they are a good team, but I also like Providence at number 9.
Do you see though? I feel like, and I talked about it a couple weeks ago, just like throwing it out there as a joke, but I did say it. Why do I got a feeling Michigan could be a Cinderella this year? I mean, they can, they have a shooting team, and teams like that, if they get hot, now they have to go out there and execute it, and they might even lose to Tulsa in the playing game.
No,
but I got a feeling
Tulsa's bad. There's no way.
Right, they're favored. They're favored. Yes, I understand. Michigan's favored, but I got a feeling like, hey, they got a little bit of a taste of playoffs of success in the Big Ten tournament. They fell short to Purdue, but they could be a team if they kind of get in a groove shooting and they get some of that momentum. They're not exactly in a horrible bracket either. Michigan could make maybe a Sweet 16 run if things go right. You don't see Michigan at all as being having a chance to be a Cinderella?
I think they could. I just don't see it happening. I think
love for Michigan from Jason.
I don't like Michigan.
They have no talent.
They're missing their best players. You can't deny that. They had a good game against Indiana. They kind of got embarrassed by Purdue though, which I think that's what's going to happen if they beat Tulsa, which they probably will, and they should. If they lose to Tulsa, then all this talk about John Beilein saving his job, they might want to throw that out the window. Because if you're losing to Tulsa, that's bad. But going up against Notre Dame, I think they have to all the cards that they'd have to play a perfect game. I think that's what we saw a couple years ago is where you need the Michigan only wins if they play a perfect game. They're going to have their shooting on point, and they're going to have to be able to adapt to whatever defense is thrown at them.
What are your plans for Thursday, Friday? Do you sneak in on the phone app, or do you try to catch as many games as you can, or how do you experience the first couple of days of the tournament? A lot of people, they say $1 billion plus is lost in productivity with people checking the games, with people calling off of work, taking time off. A lot of people go to Vegas, check out the games. It's really fun.
A lot of people get vasectomies. They do. You laugh about it, but that's
kind of funny
because it lays you up for like 4 days. So it gives you an excuse to lay around and watch college basketball. I won't be getting one, but I don't know. Maybe Vinny will.
What are you going to do this week?
No, I work at night both of those days, so I will probably be just sitting around checking out the games. What time is the Michigan State game?
2:45 Friday.
2:45 Friday. I will be watching that. Maybe I'll go into the station early to watch that.
Yeah,
I'll share in the festivities
Against Middle Tennessee? I wouldn't even waste my time.
Yeah, I got to be working, so I'll be checking the updates, trying to sneak it in a little bit.
Now, Middle Tennessee, it's a slight breakdown. I don't know a ton about Middle Tennessee State. I didn't watch any games. Not gonna lie. I could say that I didn't watch a ton of Middle Tennessee State games. I didn't watch any Middle Tennessee State
I'm not going to
games.
lie to you. I haven't either.
What I've read, they're a 3-point shooting team, which I'm not too worried. I would be the only thing that would concern me is if Michigan State gets in that funk, which we've seen
The
in
turnover,
the last 2
offensive funky, yes.
And it's not even the turnovers, because I think in that Purdue game, they didn't have a ton of turnovers. It's just that they got into consistent shooting cold streaks. And I think that would be the only concern in that game, is that, you know, they're knocking down shots and we're just clanking up shots every single time. Michigan State's still going to win, but we'll see. But I think we're going to take a break, right, Vinny?
Yeah, when we come back, we got the Red Wings Tigers and Jason the King Jarvi's new edition of Doc or the Duck. Motor City Sports Rant, Detroit Sports Podcast.com.
Doc here for FanaticU.com, Detroit Sports official outfitter and the official outfitter of the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. If you have any sporting needs, if you want to buy and support your local Detroit teams, no better place to check out than FanaticU.com. And this month, being the month of spring training for the Detroit Tigers, go to FanaticU.com and on select Detroit Tigers gear, enter the promo code POD. That's promo code POD, and you can get 15% off of JD Martinez jerseys. You can get 15% off of select Detroit Tigers hoodies and T-shirts. Go visit FanaticU.com, support your local Detroit teams, and support those who support us. FanaticU.com, Detroit Sports official outfitter. And now back to Jarvi and Stubbs on the Motor City Sports Rant, Detroit Sports Podcast Network. Jarvi with the stylings. Good stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
Motor City Sports Rant, Detroit Sports Podcast.com. You want to start off with the Red Wings or the Tigers? I watched the entire Red Wings game last night. I thought Mrazek did a good job. The offense is terrible, and so is the defense. You guys are 3 points ahead of Philadelphia, and that's who you're playing next. And I told you at the beginning of the season on the podcast, me not knowing much about the Red Wings until this season, that you guys will not be making the playoffs for the first time in 24 years, and everybody laughed at me and took my clothes off and spanked me butt naked. And now I'm starting to kind of look like a genius.
Well, now, if you heard, Vinny, Anthony Mantha is going to make his debut tonight when this podcast comes out, getting called up. Got, 21 goals, I think 24 assists out there in the minors. I believe he's going to come out and he's going to bring a new energy.
You got called up?
Got called up.
Whoa.
Are you going to tune in, Vinny, to watch
Yeah,
Anthony Mantha's
absolutely.
debut?
Yeah, I'm going to watch, and I kind of hope you guys win because I want to see your playoff streak stay alive. Nah, I'd like to be wrong once in a while.
You're always wrong.
I'm right about everything I say.
The playoff streak is not in jeopardy.
Yes, it
They're 3
is.
points ahead of Philadelphia
That's
right now.
it. How many games are
That's
left?
where it's going to stand.
No, it's not.
They got probably 13 games.
Well, even if they do make the playoffs, I was close to being right. So I would like you guys to bow down before
Close
that.
only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades.
So, Vinny, what was your takeaway watching the Toronto game? I mean, you saw Toronto kind of get that fluky goal. The puck flew in the net with the player, but the Wings had opportunities. They just couldn't cash in. I mean, they called off that goal, which was ridiculous. But I mean, he did use his hand to swat the puck in the net. But it was just a game that's been.
It's not just a game. You guys lost to two of the worst teams in the East in the last week and a half. There's no excuse for that. Then you lost to one of them at home. Then you lost to another one in a shootout. Shame on you guys.
But the Ranger game was pretty effective. You showed a little bit of life. Got the extra point
Doesn't
there.
matter when you're losing to bad teams like that. It does not show any promise for the playoffs if you do get in.
So your confidence is low. What about you, Jason?
Unfortunately, I kind of feel like wake me up when the playoffs come.
They wake you up when they don't come.
They aren't giving me a really good reason to watch them during the regular season. They're kind of doing the same thing the Pistons are doing, where they're back and forth. They lose to good teams, or they lose to good teams and also lose to bad teams, but then somehow make it up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really make sense. It's disheartening. I really hope Anthony Mantha proves everybody wrong that he's kind of faded in Grand Rapids. He comes up to the big league and actually does something.
I think it's going to be an exciting time, a little bit of new energy. They played Philadelphia. Well, you said it yourself. We're 3 points ahead of them, right?
Yes.
So it's going to be important for us to go there and handle our business.
What's the rest of our schedule? What do we have left?
I don't know.
I'm looking right at it. It is brutal. I mean, you have a good chance.
Florida, Florida, Tampa Bay, Montreal, Pittsburgh, Montreal again, Philadelphia, Boston Rangers. Good God.
Yes.
Yeah, March is brutal for the Red Wings. What are you clapping for?
You guys aren't getting in.